Hello everyone, welcome to the Advancement Centre and welcome to the world of magic and miracles. Once again, we move past all our limitations and settle in that place that's way above all imagination. The feeling of security that we sometimes wonder about is actually with you. That perfect space that we've described many times but never been able to come up with the words. So now, as we move a little further into that world of our Creator, we can feel the vibration change so quickly that we wonder how we got there. There's no place that you can stay. There's only the ability to go further, to move easily in that world that we've never been able to explain. And now we're there. We've gone past all things. And we've settled into something that we have no description for. Each time we talk about multidimensional, we have to go back to the two-dimensional part of ourselves to even describe it. When we're in there, there's no description. There's just a perfect connection with everything, with everybody, and with all the movement that keeps us attracted to where we are. As we listen, we really don't hear anything. As we try to feel, we really don't feel anything except the beautiful vibration of our Creator. In a space where it's okay to forget everything. It's okay to actually just exist. And the excitement that is happening inside us is so comfortable, we actually stop restricting it. The amount of movement that we're going to feel as a result of today will really shock you, because there is no limit. And the more you feel no limit, the more you allow yourself to move in that natural spiral that keeps you totally energized, totally in touch with everything, and totally happy with every moment. We can give you lots of descriptions. We can build you things that make you feel like you are now. But the fact that you can actually just step forward and be that perfect mystical being that's everywhere, touching everything and enhancing everybody's life without even shifting in your chair. So we can talk about the science of it, we can talk about all sorts of things. But being there, in that transported state, where you can reach out to anything or anyone, is the real McCoy. If you can feel, you will understand, and if you understand, you can feel. And the loop goes on. And understanding is not necessary, but the feeling is. The feeling of excitement, the feeling of possibility, and the feeling of advancement within your being and around it and beyond any limit that you can think of, still doesn't fill your life. It gives you the excitement to go on, to discover more, to elevate further, to spread your wings that cover more than the universe, and to feel that this is your place, that the everywhere that you can feel is more real than the life you're living in physical form. But one doesn't separate from the other. They both grow to accept one another. So your physical being is much bigger than the bit you can see, and we've always known that. And your mystical presence is bigger again. But they both can occupy the same space, which is everywhere. To even look at your body as a vehicle is the wrong way around. It's an integrated part of your experience that can go everywhere, do everything, perform whatever it needs, and not worry you. So you weren't given something that's limited. You developed the limitations, not you personally, but the physical presence developed that as an entity. And now we can feel that entity rising and coming up in amongst us with all its immense power. We can drop the limitations and know that it's not a case of physical and non-physical. It's a case of that's all you. And that's why I said we went out of this world, settled into a perfect space, on a platform well above the normal living platform. And then, as we got used to it, we returned to the earth to integrate and expand our world to fit both in. And so now, as I talk to you, it's the same as if we were way out there. And yet we're just sitting here looking at one another and feeling the immense connection, which is nothing like the physical connection we talk about. It is complete. So as we open our world further and further, that entity that supports us all rises up and allows the multidimensional world that we always spoke about to be the one that's here, now, and for all time. So the dimensional divisions are under your control, and you can drop those divisions anytime you want. It's not a case of having to break through from one to the other. Even having a conversation, you can speak so that everybody can hear you, and you don't have to divide off to keep your conversation private, because everybody knows anyway. The divisional parts of the very thing we do each day is to create dimensions everywhere and complexities that cause confusion. When everybody speaks without dividing off into dimensions, there is no room for possibilities of confusion. There's no opinions, there's no interpretations, because what you say is complete, even if it doesn't have all the grammatical correct delivery that you would expect. Because our communication is not just words, it's what comes with the words, what comes behind the words, what happens with the inflections and the movements, and how we interact. So now the elements of every action are available to everyone. Every time we move, it changes something in the world. Every time we speak, we add our heart into it. We add the sense of well-being for every other person. And we lift the barriers that the entity called humanity allowed into the species, and we become magnificent beings. The ability to change gravity, to change fields, lies within each one of you. And you don't have to describe how. This is what connects to everything. This is what makes your car run well, if you like the car. This is what makes family work, if you like the family. This is what makes your house beautiful to be in. Because you change the field that supports every part of it. No matter what science says, we can turn it upside down. You can stop someone in their steps in an instant if you wish. Or you can elevate their field and watch them fly. And that's the one that we're working towards. Elevating everybody's field and causing that disruption that gives a counterclockwise movement of their fields and lifts the load off. And that's not done by doing anything to anyone. It's done by the sense of enhancement of their life. And it's not a thought, it's a movement. It's an interaction of fields that allows everybody to feel so much better because of your presence. Brings a smile to their face and a lightness to their life. And each time we go purposely into the area of our elevated being, we're starting to get used to the fact that all those elements belong to us, and that every bit of us comes alive and starts to interact not with the people, but with all the fields that support us and keep us from running into one another. There's more to this than meets the eye, and there's more to it than you can possibly put on paper. And there's nothing can measure except a person. Therefore, there's a mystery behind it all. But all you have to know is it's all connected to you. And to you and your operating system, it is not a mystery. To describe any part of it becomes almost an impossibility, because the various parts of us that we've developed exclude the beauty of this space of interaction, of all dimensions there at once, so that you don't have to go through the discomfort of moving from one dimension to another. There are many of us that can go from one dimension to another, but it's not something the average person would be comfortable with. Now you're in a position to drop all those. They're not real barriers, they're dimensional shifts. And you can fade them in and out just like you do the movies. You fade one picture into the other, and then all of a sudden it changes. And you can fade it back. And you don't need to remember the one that faded out, because you're looking at the one that you just faded in. But you haven't moved. You've just softened the dimensional barriers that have been developed over many, many centuries. And it's a bit like the Earth changes. It can change without explosions. Movement of the Earth can be gentle, as long as we see that we're capable of changing its state. The path through life is going to be so easy that everyone will be that busy enjoying themselves, trying new things, elevating one another, lifting things off the ground because they can, shifting things without touching them. All of this will just keep us so occupied you won't believe it, because you dare to do it. And I can tell you, it's more than possible. So as we move along and science comes up with new ways of indicating where we are, what we're doing, you'll see that you already knew that. You've already used it. You've already done it. You're now sitting in the middle of so many dimensions, you can't describe it. Simply because I said, let's go there. The ability of each person to go to any place at any time is growing so fast that you can't really stick with anything that won't move. Even if it's a thought pattern and it won't move, you can't stick with it, because you're moving so fast that it becomes heavy. It drags on you, and so you let go. And the more you let go, the better you feel, because it's all about motion. And if you need to go back to anything, it's because you changed direction and you're heading that way. But it doesn't mean you've actually gone backwards. You've progressed, and you'll see it in a different light. You move forward through the dimensions and you look forward all the time. Because if you look back, you won't see what you think you just left, you'll see a different version. This is what happens in your multidimensional state. So you don't have to change anything, you just keep moving and it will change state. You wave your hand and it'll change state. So where I'm going is into an area that the brain had never considered, so that it won't try to actually do anything except keep your body and its special powers totally active at all times, so that it can interact with other bodies to maintain its own power. And that's the power of movement without physically moving. That's the movement of your fields. The magnetic field is the one that we know the best, but there are many. And you can make your hands feel like they're magnetic. You can make them buzz. You can point them to people, whichever way you want, and change their particular vibration. You can poke into their field if you wish, but their field will move. And you won't have reaction like you do when you're working with fixed fields. You have movement. You have everything comes in balance and harmony. You all stand in the right place in the room. You all sit in the right place. You don't find any imposition. This is the way many of us live now. And this is the way the world was meant to operate, with everyone in a totally satisfied state of action, not a state of non-motion, but a state of total action, totally stirring up every moment, no matter what it looks like on the surface. You can now experiment with anything you want, with the knowing that there are no rules. You can make your own if you want, but it's best if you don't, because the natural flow of everything that we're using works totally on simplicity. The further you go into the complexities of making rules, handling things in a certain way, the further you get yourself away from the actual control system, which is called simplicity. It's through this simplicity that we connect to everything. We communicate with everything, and we communicate with everybody's field. And in that simplicity, we feel comfortable, we feel supported, and we don't have to know how. So we went through many talks about forgetting the word how and why and what does that mean. And so that means it doesn't. So we went through much of that so that it would disappear. And now we're way past that, to where everything is flowing in perfection, in total perfection. And we're starting to take advantage of that flow. And it's not a flow that's linear. It's a flow that is totally complex in its nature, just like the branches of a tree. They're never the same. They don't run on a certain pattern. The only thing that's common is they've got green leaves sometimes, and they've got branches, and they've got a centre, the stump, if you like. But that's the only commonality, and each one of them are totally different. And they're never at the same angle. They're never looking all in the same direction. We're now finding that about ourselves. So that any assessment we make is gone in a fraction of a second. Any idea we have about fixations, they're not there in the next second, because we're never the same in any part of us. The logic that comes with growing up in a fixed world is about to be overpowered by the joy of not having to have logic. And it's overpowered because we have magic and miracles. We can use our magic and we can create miracles. And what are they? Their objection to the fixed laws. Doesn't mean they're not possible. It means it seems to us that it wasn't possible, but it happened. Therefore, it's a miracle. We're going further than that to where it's going to be difficult to decide if something's a miracle or it's just a great thing that's happening. Because even science is proving that science is wrong. And all it is, a fixed set of assumptions made by some person at some time and written down. And we all make it happen. If I'd have written down something different, would have made that happen as well. Our nature is to follow, but our being can't follow anything. It is free. It fills the universe. It doesn't have a problem with interacting, because that's what each one of us do to maintain the endless power of the universe. And so now we can honestly be there and not say anything. But one of the things about saying something is that it starts the movement of the interacting fields between people and allows transmission that controls that complex mechanism that stops us running into one another in any part of our nature. So the beauty of gentle speech and what it can do for everyone is something you'll talk about for many, many years. Because the slightest movement, feeling, expression that happens while you're speaking can change someone's life in a fraction of a second and make it so beautiful that you wouldn't believe you had anything to do with it. But the slightest little thing will start a healing function in another person, because all they needed was that slight interaction, just like the trees do. A slight interaction with the tree, and all of a sudden you're starting to feel better. A slight interaction with a hummingbird, and all of a sudden you're sparkling. And so our speech and how we handle it and how we interact is the simplicity. The program that runs the program that runs the program. So now we're starting to get to the music that actually contains it all. Your own personal music that contains all those things that's emanating from you all the time and looks for the harmonics as you speak. So there'll be a major movement into sound, into music, that's designed not to make noise, but it's designed to enhance your own music. It's been done before, and it will be done again. So with that, I'll take a 5-minute break, and we'll come back and talk about a lot of other things. And we may introduce something that you've never thought of before. So let's talk again in 5 minutes. Thank you. So welcome back. The elevated platform of living is a subject that we bring up regularly. But this time, I want to expand that so that it can support everybody and everything. That platform of living that holds you above all things is extremely important in your practical life. That's your spaceship. That's the place where you sit and where everything about you is switched on to run at maximum speed. If you go below that platform and you don't leave the main part of you there, you end up under the trampoline instead of on top of it. And each time you push up, you'll get shot back down onto the ground. Our intention is to stay on top of the trampoline and live that brilliant, bouncy life that each one of us know. Way back, I said there are two ways to live your life. On top of the trampoline or under it. Please yourself. And it's as simple as that. So that elevated platform of living that contains everything we've been talking about, contains the beauty, the elegance, the interaction without running into one another, and the enhancement of one another's lives. And that's all you have to remember. Stay on top and watch it happen. Live that bouncy, brilliant, sparkly life that's full of mischief, that demonstrates that you can turn somersaults, that you can levitate, that you can do anything you want. And the program of simplicity will kick in immediately. Your personal supercomputer that I wrote about is totally active, and it's got qualities and capabilities that only you know about, and you don't have to communicate with it. It reads you all the time. It reads every sense that we don't know about. Those millions of inputs and outputs that they classed as emotion because they didn't know what they were, are now active and have no name. Even knowing is cutting it down too small. The word is not big enough. Your creator and your interface with your creator, those words cut everything down to a limited form that can go in your brain. Simplicity and your personal supercomputer operate together to enhance everything and everyone. So the simpler you can make everything, the more powerful your personal supercomputer is. Because the mystery of how your body works and what's attached to it will never be known by anybody except you. And I'm talking about the universal you that is not really present anywhere, but is present everywhere. That universal you that can be, like I've said before, in a plane, on a train, looking down on the Alps, looking down on the stars, across the other side of the street. And you don't have to imagine it. You're immediately there because I say the words. Practice putting yourself anywhere just by saying the word. And you'll find you get really good at it. Because we are multidimensional beings, as well as living in multidimensional field. We have names for teleportation, transportation. That's easy for us all, but it's not a method. As soon as you use the word, you've created something that you have to live up to. So just practice being everywhere. Then you don't have to go through any system that upsets the physical being. And the platform of living is yours. It's totally perfect for you. For each one of you, it is not the same. But those words, the elevated platform of living, are sufficient for you to take on a whole new life. On your own platform that's well above all the fixed things in the world. And if that's not magic, nothing is. We've settled for so much when we don't have to settle for anything. Because we don't need. It's all done before that happens. Before you have a need, everything is supplied. Because that's your platform of living. And if you dare to be there all the time, you'll be there. And the world will be a different place. Science and others talk about awareness, talk about mentality, all those things that they can measure to say when everybody's advanced. There's no such thing. That's why no one can get hold of it. Consciousness, what's that? When everybody's more conscious of what? Forget it, it's limiting. Be simple, and it'll all come to you. The simplicity connects you. You try to be more conscious, you need a focal point. You need a big list of what you've got to be conscious of. Forget it. Just go for simplicity, freedom, and expansion. Be everywhere. And that's pretty much all I can say at this point. But I would love to actually hand it over to someone else for the first time. And I think Barbara should just say a few words and just talk about what it's like for this life. I'll just move to one side and let her sit in the chair at this stage. And I don't think we need another microphone. But I just love you to experience the special part of life that we're experiencing. I'll give you, you've got that mic there, and I'll put this one
Here?
I can't get it off.
You can tell we didn't rehearse this. And this is a big surprise. Hold that.
Put it in your pocket if you like.
Oh, that's right. That's why I want this.
Okay. So there's your camera.
Thank you. Wow. What an amazing feeling to be elevated and to be sitting in Robert Young's chair. But that's what he wants for all of us. And that's what's so exciting. This has been quite a journey. And his words become our words. And I'm so glad you spoke about the trampoline. Because if you ever find yourself under the trampoline, you know exactly what to do. Get on top. And the interaction between people, and know that you can touch someone on the other side of the globe and have such an amazing love feeling coming from them and feeling it in yourself. What else is magical? That's beautiful. I look around and I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled that the weaving of this life has brought me to this place here. Because I realize this is what my dearest wish has always been since I'm a child. How can I make people feel happy? How can I make them feel wanted? And it took a long time, but I went to Australia and found Robert. But now I'm sitting here and I have all of you here and on your computers. And I'm reaching out to you and saying, together, we are wonderful. And we're filled with wonder because we never know what's coming next. And we know that there is nothing but beauty and wonder. This has been a thrill. And it hasn't been easy. It took a long time to drop all those veils. Because from when you're very, very little, someone puts something on you, and you say, oh, okay, this is the way I have to be. Oh, all right. And somebody else puts something on you. And some things are nice, and some things aren't so nice. There are good teachers and not so good teachers. But when you meet Robert, he says, you don't need any of those. So drop all that stuff. And I love what he says. The past is on a truck that's leaving. Let it go off the back of the truck. And be here now. And I find myself here. Welcome. Join me. And have a wonderful, wonderful life. Yesterday, I had a pre-birthday. My birthday's coming Wednesday, but my family, everyone who was here on the West Coast, came to visit Robert and me. And it was joyous. A combination of everyone, their presence, their happiness, their sharings. And this room is still resonating with the joy of the celebration. So Why don't we just keep the celebration going and find something to celebrate in every moment? I celebrate you. I celebrate everyone here. I feel like saying each person I know who's on this call at this moment, but you know who you are. And I'm so happy that you're tuned in and you're hearing the wealth that is being offered to you. Thank you, Robert.
That's good. Keep going.
Keep going?
Keep going.
I was ready to hand it back to you. But I can look around the room and realize how I met each and every one of you. And each and every one of you became a part of my life. And we're just going to keep multiplying that and knowing what we know. And we have brand new friends, Ralph and Marcia, who live, they said on an interview, that we live in the fifth dimension. We live what we're guided to live. And when I first met Robert, the first thing you said to me was, and there are no rules. No rules? How do I know what to do? But little by little, you find out by doing nothing but what you are guided to do. Your life becomes amazing. Amazing. And I always think of that word, amazing. It is. It's clear. It's simple. So I just want everyone to have this feeling. This feeling is just so exciting. And the word pictures of an elevated platform are amazing. I have a dear friend in Costa Rica who is so excited with every one of these broadcasts. She was so excited that she said, I want everybody to hear this. So she translated it into Spanish. And then another friend in Chile, I want all my friends in Brazil to be able to read this in Robert's writings. So she translated everything into Portuguese. And then we have Robert referred to the your personal supercomputer. Well, our friend Philippe, he translated the entire book into French. So everyone wants to be a part of this. And there's room for everyone to participate, to add their talents and their music. Music. Music is my life. But not like this music. I studied music. I tried to perform music. Did everything you're supposed to. And Robert said, just be the music. And that's fun. That's wonderful. I see this little mic winking at me. Would you like your microphone back? Here.
Okay.
Did I say anything?
You sure did.
Oh, okay. I'll give you this back. Good.
Thanks, Barbara. I mean, how else can you express what you're living besides living? And this is the very point of the whole exercise. live, enjoy, elevate, and make magic every minute of your life for no reason at all. And then you've got it made. So I think we're almost out of time. But what I want to leave you with is I've been stumped for words for so long. To be able to let everyone know that I'm right beside them, because I can do that. I stand beside everyone. I don't care where you are in the world. And I'll continue to do that. So whenever there's a struggle of any sort, just use my energy. It doesn't hurt at all. Use it, elevate yourself. Use it to walk. Use it to feel better. The more you use, the more is generated. And I can tell you, it will change your life. So those few words, hopefully, will start a discussion of how you can do the same. But as you use my energy, you will feel well-being that you've never felt before, ability that you never had before, and security and courage beyond all explanation. That's why I'm here, for no other reason. So everybody enjoy every part of your life and live it. There is no limit. Thank you, and we'll be back again next week. Thank you very much.